So obviously the receiving piece came in, the moving the ball became a big thing, and then came the one knee stance, which is obviously still 5, 6, 7 years later is still seems to be a controversial topic for some. Talk a little bit about that evolution and you kind of going into that, and then obviously then evolving it to runners on base and things of that nature.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so like when I first started, it was very traditional. It was kind of seen as a bit of lax or
Lazy.
lazy to do the one knee.
Yeah.
Like when they first started to like kind of be okay with it, it's like, if you're having a long game, you need to take a little break or it's a long inning, yeah, catch a few from your knee, but then you get back up. Um, yeah, I think Tyler Flowers was really the like kind of first guy I seen go down there and do it just out of his necessity, like his physical
Hmm.
necessities to make it happen. Um, I think Tanner Swanson was the first guy to like make it like where like this is a mechanical advantage for catching, not just, something to, take a break on. Um, and when I first saw like the Twins guys doing it, I was not gonna lie, I was a bit resistant at first because not only were they knee down, like they were right knee down, and that like I think blew a lot of the catchers' minds. Like how are they doing it with the right knee down and their left leg kicked out? How are they even going to throw a ball when a guy steals? And it was so crazy watching these guys catch and watching the way that the body was able to move through that space and that they were able to accomplish, these tasks that were being asked of them, throwing a baseball, blocking a baseball, receiving a baseball better than others. Um, but yeah, like there was a bit of pride that I think blocked a lot of us from, diving right in. Uh, Craig Driver was the first guy when I was with the Phillies in 19 to really kind of challenged me to get down there. And so like I started dabbling with it. I would do it in a couple pitches here, then I'd go back up to traditional in other circumstances. Receiving was okay, started to get a little bit better. Was working under balls better. Then I went to the Giants, Craig Albarnez, another great catching mind there. He wanted me to like really go for it. You know what I mean? Like I had everything to gain with nothing to lose with like helping out my catching metrics and going all in on this. More data was coming out that this was beneficial. So then like that year I really exclusively started to like do it and like it was helping. Like I was grounded, I was on the ground. But then I got traded to the Yankees, and that's when Tanner Swanson was with the Yankees at that time. Aaron Gershenfeld was their catching coordinator. I got to go to the alt site, which was like probably the biggest like game changer for me as far as like learning how to receive. Like I understood finally like why I was down there and how to utilize like proper glove layering, pre-pitch, and the proper glove routes to the ball, right? So like the structure part of my progression here with receiving, like was really starting to get strong on why I was doing it. Um,
Will you explain glove layering?
yes, yeah. So glove layering is essentially your pre-pitch, where like I'm giving a target to the pitcher. The pitcher is going to start his windup, and I'm going to layer my glove down as he prepares to throw, so that I can prepare to receive the baseball from underneath it up through it. And then I was kind of using kind of like a pre-pitch layer to like where the intended spot was supposed to be. I don't do that so much anymore. I tend to layer really neutral because I trust my reflexes a lot more now than I did when I first started building up. But so I really got this like sound structure of glove layering, glove routes, and a stable base at the bottom with my one knee setup. Then 2021, I had a full season with it in game, and my catching metrics like for the SL Plus skyrocketed. Best year I had. It was an absolute game changer. And then 2022, I meet Brandon. The Yankees hire Brandon in the offseason. Turns out we're kind of from the same area in Southern California. And then we get to discover this where we kind of had similar ideas. This is where I started coming into the realization that unintended locations were where the best receivers were winning. And I went to Brandon. Brandon had already had a foundation in like chaos theory is what we call it. Um, and in that off season, like my goal with him was just to see how far we could push it. And man, oh man, did he really like push my game to the next level there. And I like just getting ready for anything, right? Feeling like like I said, it was no longer like the pitcher's fault for an unintended location. I was taking the accountability of like when it's unintended, I have to own that because that's what the best players are doing. And that was a great off season. And I came in and had another great receiving year, scoring like really, really high. And it brought me into that realm of like being a consistent, good receiving catcher.
It's awesome. And then how did your adjustment to the blocking and throwing piece start to come?
The blocking, like I've always been a pretty good mover, like really, really good flexibility, like had like pretty decent athleticism back there. The blocking part came pretty natural. I think a lot of us discover once we get into a good one knee stance, it actually in a lot of ways can make it easier. Like you're down there, like you're grounded, you're stable. There isn't a lot of abrupt movement that takes place. Like I was able to read the bounce, use my chest protector with accuracy. It was more so just learning the degrees of kick out that were going to give me leverage on certain pitches that were going to sweep further, and I needed more force going this way, or a certain amount of kick out so that if it was a tough splitter, I was going to have to bounce in the middle. I was already going to be down there. But for the most part, blocking was a lot easier. Throwing, I would say, was like one of my bigger adjustments with it, just to find where I can most athletically get through the crouch and still be a quality receiver because we receive far more than we're going to, block or throw. So I didn't want to sacrifice the integrity of my catch if it was going to be in the zone. But yeah, once you find a good spot there, kind of like when you had Trevino on, he talks about just practicing being in that space so that you know it well enough when it happens in the game. Same thing, right? You just practice being in that space as many times as possible so that way when it happens in the game, it's super natural.
If you enjoyed that, be sure to like and subscribe. We'll have a new episode for you every single Tuesday here on our YouTube channel and wherever you listen to podcasts.